What is going on? Welcome to the final week of Startups Discipleship. You have made it. Hopefully this has been life-giving for you in your personal health, your spiritual development, and in the building of your practical skills and ministry ideas. This is our spiritual track, and we're finishing up a series on ministry models. We've looked at Moses and the need for delegation. We've looked at Peter and his kind of shoot first, ask questions later approach. We've looked at Paul and his transition from bivocational ministry to full-time. Last week we looked at Barnabas and how he was a proverbial bridge builder. And I believe we can take bits and pieces from each of these leaders and their ministry models and apply them into our own context, creating something completely and wholly unique. This week, I want to talk to you about a simple concept. This was actually the name and the ministry model of a men's ministry that I served at a previous church. The model was so simple yet so effective that it's really stuck with me for years. They called it Wingmen. The model was Wingmen. In this ministry model, there were three people or groups of people that you needed to connect with on a regular basis. Number one, your commanding officer. Number two, your cadets. And number three, your wingmen. Your commanding officer, your cadets, and your wingmen. Let's break down each of these groups and see why they are essential to life and ministry. First off, your commanding officer. This is the person that speaks into your life to teach and disciple you. Who is your Mr. Miyagi? Who is your Yoda or your Obi-Wan Kenobi? Who is your Mick? Who is your mentor, your coach, your leader? Elisha had Elijah. Timothy had Paul. Joshua had Moses. The book of Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 7 says, "Remember your leaders who taught you the word of God. Think of all the good that has come from their lives and follow the example of their faith." Basically, find somebody who loves the word of God and sees his promises come to pass and follow them. Who is that to you? If you don't have a commanding officer yet, find one. Everyone, regardless of age, should have a wise sage pouring knowledge and wisdom from the word of God into their lives, and follow them. Learn from them. When you disagree with them, submit to them. Humble yourself under their leadership and allow them to mold and shape you like a block of clay. Hebrews 13 verse 17 says, "Obey your spiritual leaders and do what they say. Their work is to watch over your souls, and they're accountable to God. Give them reason to do this with joy and not with sorrow, because that would not be for your benefit." What it's saying is identify a commanding officer and make it easy for them to lead you. Make it fun for them. The second relationship was with your cadets. These are the people that you are overseeing, that you're teaching, training, mentoring, and coaching. Every believer is called to the Great Commission of going out into the world and making disciples, teaching others how to do everything that God has commanded us. I have found that few things are as helpful for personal growth as having to teach something to somebody else. When I first gave my life to Christ, I was asked to lead a youth group. Now, most of those students were birthed in the pews, and I had only come to Jesus a few months prior. If I was going to disciple these young people, I'd better know what I was doing and what I was talking about. That season was life-changing for me. I learned more about God, His Word, and how to hear His voice than in any other time of my walk with Him since. I relied on it, because if I didn't have something to pour out for other people, I was dead in the water. And if we don't have others to pour into, then everything we consume from God and our mentors has no flow to it. We become a stagnant lake, still water. We become fat, bloated, and maybe even constipated Christians. Eventually, these situations become toxic and even deadly, so find people into whom you can overflow all that people are pouring into you. So, who are your cadets? Who are you currently discipling? And who can you invite from this point on to follow you as you follow Christ? So you should have a commanding officer, you should have cadets, and the last one is that you should have wingmen. And this is key in ministry. Wingmen are those people who are on your level. They're friends, peers, co-laborers. And in ministry, this can be hard, maybe nearly even impossible, as ministry is quite demanding and leaves little time for peer relationships. But again, having wingmen is key. These are your bros or your sisters, the people that you can talk shop with, go toe-to-toe with, or simply just turn off with. People that you can disconnect from the rest of the world with. We all have friends who need us to speak into their situations nearly every time we're together. Those are actually cadets, not wingmen. Wingmen have our backs. They watch your six. They take care of each other. They protect each other. Sometimes wingmen call you out on your nonsense. Sometimes that can be incredibly harsh. But because of their peer relationships, you know that they're on your team and that they only want what's best for you. Leadership can be lonely. Ministry even more so. Find peers. Find wingmen who can laugh with you, cry with you, support you, and hold you accountable. So who are your commanding officers? Who are your cadets? And who are your wingmen? Once you've identified those three people or those people groups, be deliberate about getting together with them on a regular basis. We live in such a busy world that it's easy to let meaningful relationships slip away. But meet with each person regularly and consistently. Meet monthly or even weekly. And when you meet together, be intentional about your time. Even if the only intention is to have fun, be intentional, because intentionality is everything. Every one of these relationships should be life-giving and life-changing. I pray that if you don't have one already, that you would find a mentor who will regularly pour into your life. I pray that you would find people who would want you to pour into their lives. And I pray that you would have wingmen relationships, people on your right and your left, to help you get through all of the intensity that is life in the ministry.